Welcome back to CEO.ca. In this episode, we're with John Proust, Chairman and CEO of Japan Gold. Now, the company has just concluded its 5-year alliance with Barrick and is now advancing its projects independently in Japan. We'll discuss key learnings from that partnership, upcoming drill programs, and John will make his case on Japan being one of the world's most underexplored gold frontiers. John, maybe we'll start here with my first question. What were the most valuable insights that you've gained from the Barrick partnership that will continue to inform your future exploration strategy?
Well, great first question. The item that we identified right off the bat was that Japan, as we screened the country for the best project areas with Barrick under our Barrick Alliance, we identified that there wasn't just one location in Japan that was highly prospective, but moreover, our screening, which consisted of geochemistry and geophysics across approximately 3,000 square kilometers of the best mineral rights in the country, that there was prospectivity across those mineral rights. So I think that was the first important learning for us. The second one is that major companies have a different viewpoint in terms of exploration than junior companies. Junior companies will get some encouragement in one particular area and then go quite aggressively into that area with drilling, et cetera, et cetera. Barrick took a much more, I say cautious approach, but just a more countrywide approach to look at all of our assets by screening them with geochemistry and geophysics. So while that's not particularly exciting through that period of time, with our investors, because we're looking for drill results that are confirming prospectivity, it has given us an incredible database where Barrick spent approximately $23 million assembling that data with us as the operator in the country. So very important learnings for us.
Mm-hmm. And you're in a position where you're well-funded now, different from when you started the Barrick partnership 5 years ago. Talk to us about what this enables you to do at this point moving forward when it comes to having this sort of funding level as you explore further.
Yeah. So we have a completely sort of clean sheet of paper, if you will, now in terms of how we advance. Now that we've been able to daylight or highlight to the global mining community the potential in Japan, having it also underscored with the geopolitical safety in Japan and the underexplored nature of the country, that's really attracted a lot more people to our business and investors to our business. And so what we've done is we've done a couple of unique things. Number one is we have looked for non-dilutive financing sources. So Barrick was the first non-dilutive financing source where they spent $23 million, but there was no dilution to Japan Gold. And again, we ended up with that incredible database for Japan. But more recently, what we did was we wanted drilling dollars to use on projects outside the Barrick Alliance. And rather than going into the equity markets, we approached the largest royalty companies in the world, like Franco-Nevada and Wheaton Precious Metals, and it was called Osisko Gold Royalties or OR Royalties now. And they were all very, very interested in Japan and the thesis of the reason for being there and our thesis. And so ultimately we concluded a transaction where we sold a small 1.5% royalty to OR Royalties on the project portfolio at that time outside the Barrick Alliance. And that gave us $5 million US, which we could then use to support those projects and move forward with advanced stage exploration and drilling. And so that's put us in a very strong position there. Most recently, as the gold market continues to heat up and there's so much enthusiasm out there, we did a small financing that was led by our largest shareholder, which is Equinox. And Equinox, who now owns over 30% of the company, participated substantially in an equity placement of $2 million or just over $2 million that we raised recently. So we have working capital, we have drilling dollars from the OR Royalties sale, and we are now poised to look at other potential joint venture partnerships or earn-in relationships that will have other people spending their money on portions of our portfolio.
Well, John, talk to us about why Japan as a country remained, underexplored despite its potential geologically, and why now is the time to look at the country, at Japan Gold, right? You got many projects in the country assembled now. Talk to us about why underexplored and why now.
Right. So underexplored goes back to the history of gold mining in Japan, where for 500 years, prospectors and miners were mining gold in Japan right up to the Second World War. And in 1943, in the Second World War, there were actually 76 active gold mines across Japan that were all closed by a government moratorium, where the government needed the workers to go into base metal mines and steel factories to support the war. So effectively, the industry closed and barely reopened after the war because the focus of the government and mining companies was to go abroad and bring natural resources back to Japan. So really, since the war, there's been limited or no exploration in Japan, with the exception of the Geological Survey, or the Metal Mining Agency of Japan, who's done a few more science experiments in Japan. But fortunately for Japan and for the Metal Mining Agency, in 1981, when they were drilling a scientific hole in the southern island of Kyushu, they ended up drilling through a young volcanic sequence. And when they got to the older basement rocks, they discovered the Hishikari gold mine, which is today one of the highest grade tier 1 gold mines in the world. It's a 14 million ounce ore body. They've already mined 9 million of those ounces, and the average grade has been 30 plus grams per ton. So it's an extraordinary asset in Japan. So that gives you an indication of what's in Japan. So just to add to that just a little bit more, the historic work that's been going on in Japan has been very shallow. Those historic mines have generally been 1 million ounces to 2.5 million ounces, very shallow. But with that new discovery by the Metal Mining Agency on Sumitomo Metal Mining Ground, the discovery of the Hishikari gold mine, they actually drilled under a thin layer of volcanic ash or cover. So it was obscured, the geology below that. So they accidentally discovered the Hishikari gold mine. So the question remains, a lot of Japan is covered by a volcanic ash blanket or a volcanic material blanket. What else is under that blanket when you found one 14 million ounce ore body already? The final piece is a quick geology lesson, which is that the Japanese islands sit on top of intersecting tectonic plates. So one is subducting under another one, and there's lots of volcanic activity and faulting. And so that activity creates pathways for boiling mineral-rich fluids that are deep in the earth to flow up closer to the surface and concentrate precious metals and deposit them in the formations close to the surface. That search space, or that level where Hishikari has been discovered, 14 million ounces, has never been explored, or very, very limited exploration just around the Hishikari mine. So we're there to look at that search space. And we're also there to look around the historic mines that were the near surface mines that may have concealed additions to their vein systems that could be a great potential for us as well. So Japan has been overlooked for many, many years, but it holds the promise of some of the biggest and highest grade gold mines in the world. And so that's why we're there.
Mm-hmm. Well, I wanted to close with a follow-up question when we were talking about the Barrick Alliance. How does, having full operational control now change your exploration approach, if any, compared to that joint committee oversight you've had with Barrick?
Right. It allows us really to follow a dual approach. So the dual approach is taking certain projects in Japan that we think have great potential now, and that we can use the OR royalties or the Osisko royalty funds to advance now, to drill now, and to look at making our own discoveries. Our stated target is 1 million ounces at 7 grams. So we're looking for those sorts of things. On the other hand, because our project portfolio is large, and really there's 2 dominant district scale areas, that gives us a clean opportunity now to use our $23 million database and to go out and engage with a number of other mining companies that are interested in coming in Japan on district scale opportunities. And it's interesting because we were just recently at the Precious Metal Summit in Beaver Creek. There was a number of mining companies that met with us there. There's a real enthusiasm and awareness now of Japan and the potential. People were a little uncertain as to the Barrick relationship and where we were. And I think they realized that the programs that we were doing with Barrick to evaluate the 3 projects that Barrick identified having a tier 1 or tier 2 potential ore body, those programs were very, very tiny in terms of scale of a program that you would undertake to find an elephant ore body. So you need to use an elephant gun to go find an elephant. And so I think a lot of companies have now been propelled by the conclusion of our alliance with Barrick to know that now they can come and approach us and look at putting meaningful programs together that can truly evaluate those districts and make the large discoveries. So we've got 2 approaches.
We're going to pin it there for now, John, but great to see you again, and hopefully we'll talk soon.
Nice to see you. Thanks for the interview today.
It's JG on the TSXV. Thanks for watching.